Hold on. All right. That's better.
Maren, thank you for talking to us today.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
I'm really excited to talk about this album because it's phenomenal, Dreamsicle. If you were going to describe it to me, how would you describe it?
I mean, it's running the gamut of emotional spectrum of like heartbreak, acceptance, humor, like relinquishing control, all the things that are scary but fun feelings. But yeah, I think it's like definitely me settling into my 30s, my like new independence, and yeah, just like in a deep and lighthearted way. It's covering a lot of bases because a lot has gone down in the last 2.5, 3 years.
I would concur with that because I think one of the things I loved is that there were some really like emotionally intense songs, but then some songs that you could just like jam out to and have a good time. I always want to know why artists pick the title track. So why did you choose Dreamsicle to be the title track?
I feel like for the last few years, or actually ever since I was pregnant with my son, who's now 5, so it's been a large window of my life, I wake up most nights of the week at 3:30 a.m. It's like the witching hour. And I never know why. It's mostly because I can't shut my brain off. But one night, like on a full moon night several months ago, late last year, woke up on the dot 3:30 and the entirety of Dreamsicle, now is a song, lyrically just like popped into my head. And I rarely have full songs come to mind. So that one just felt like it fell out of the sky. And I just jotted as much as I could down before I went back to bed and forgot everything. And I don't know, maybe that sort of divine, mystical hour, the nature of the way it came out of the sky at that moment in time just felt really significant. And I think, it's a song I wrote by myself, and it just being about like, why can I never enjoy anything while it's happening? It's always when it's in the rear view, it's always in retrospect. Like, I would love to enjoy life as I'm still sitting in it and not celebrating it too late or mourning it after it's happened. It's just, it's a thing that I think a lot of people that live in their head deal with. And so I think it was like a statement to myself just to be like, everything ends, everything. And you're not in control of the start or the finish. Just enjoy it while you're in the middle of it. And then relationships, jobs, opportunities, friendships. So, I mean, you're at the mercy of the universe. And I think just me telling myself in a song, that way I've internalized it, the advice of just like, quit trying to just rush through these things on like some weird linear production timeline. Just enjoy them as they come, because sometimes things end too soon feeling or take way too long to get over with. And I just felt like naming the title of the album Dreamsicle was evoking this like nostalgia of a time that is past but I revere, and I guess portion of myself that I still want to be, and enjoying the whole meal and not just like after it's melted.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I felt a little bit with some of the songs like I was listening to your diary a little bit. Can you talk about why you chose to be so emotionally vulnerable in some of the songs?
I don't know if I always have a choice to be less vulnerable or more so. It just feels like as the words come, that is what will be on the page. I rarely like edit lyrics later, unless like I've personified something weirdly or, something detailed like that. But the emotion is just what happened in the room. So I'm not always, sometimes it's like subconsciously happening. So if it comes across like a diary, I mean, it is. I mean, it's every thought that runs through my head or feeling I've communicated to a friend that I'm writing it with. But yeah, I mean, I think with every album or piece of work I put out, it gets more vulnerable. I wouldn't want to become more protected. and guarded as my career spans. I think the whole point is like by the end of your life, you've shared as much of yourself as you can that you are proud of or sometimes not so proud of. And, you know, the people that you love or maybe that look at your work and see themselves in it, because sometimes we are mirrors. I think you have to see the whole picture to have it mirrored back at you to get a true like sense of self. I think those are my favorite records and artists are the ones that are writers that wake something up in me that I didn't realize was laying dormant, and they just nail it with one sentence, and it just makes me feel so seen. And they can't do that by being shielded.
I want to get story behind some of the songs. I could literally go through all of the songs and get the story behind them, but we don't have that time. Carry Me Through. Give me the story behind that one.
Carry Me Through was me and Greg Kirsten one day in LA in his studio, and I have done my last 2 records with Greg. I love working with him. I love that he's just a true musician and sits at the piano or his guitar and just plays chords beautifully. And all I have to do is wrap whatever emotion I'm feeling in the room that day around what he's starting to create and layer. And there weren't a ton of bells and whistles with that song. It was like I was really emotionally resonating with these sort of gospel chords he was playing. And it was back in like early 2023, so this was an early song in the mix for me. But I was dealing with a lot of like anxiety at the time, of probably some subconscious stuff that I wasn't ready to face fully yet, but also just touring, motherhood while touring, a lot of new adjustments post-COVID, also just some career stuff I was trying to figure out. So Carry Me Through was just like in a deep pit of isolation moment for myself to be like, yes, I have help. I know that I'm not that detached. I have a therapist, I've got best friends, I've got family I can lean on, but ultimately, like, your pattern break is only yourself. You're the only one in control of that. It's not going to be your therapist. It's not going to be a song. It's going to be you deciding to wake up one day and be like, I don't want to make these choices the same way. And, but in a loving, like, tender-hearted way, like, carry yourself across the line, even if you're dragging your ass across it.
What about Bed New Breakfast? I love that song.
Yeah, thank you. That was a last-minute addition. Bed No Breakfast came purely out of a conversation. I was joking with my friend DeLacy, who I wrote it with, because I had just gone off this on this date a couple nights before, and I was just telling her, not wanting to write about it, I was just like joking that I've learned about myself back in this dating pool that I really don't like people sleeping over. And that's a new thing I've learned about myself is I like getting to know someone, have a fun night, and then like, please, like, I will pay for your Uber Black to go home so I can sleep in my bed unencumbered by your presence or breathing or, weird tics you have like after hours. I just don't want to know. So I've learned that I was like, does anyone else feel like this? And then the whole room starts laughing, and they're like, we need to write about this. And we took a second to be like, it was a very easy song to write because we were just laughing about all the hijinks of dating nowadays and like dating apps. But I think it was just funny to try to figure out the title of it, because we were like, it has to encapsulate the song. We hadn't written the chorus yet. We were like, what would be funny to say? And I was like, well, it feels like a B&B without the B. So that's kind of where it came out of, was Bed No Breakfast. Like, you can stay for a few hours, but I swear to God, if the sun starts coming up and you're still here, I'm gonna freak out.
Did you have any worries about that song? Like, reactions to it?
No.
I love that about you.
I've been through enough in this point of my life that I just don't care. I was like, I actually would love to have heard this 2 years ago from someone else that has like been divorced and has a kid and is dating again and also like girl bossing. I was like, it would be kind of nice to see this like not so pretty look at the reality of dating and how just insane it is that we put ourselves out there time and time again. Like, it's almost embarrassing.
Okay, so I've been happily married for 14 years, but one of my favorite songs, thank you, is How a Woman Leaves. Oh my gosh, Maren. Can we talk about that one yet?
Yeah. Thank you. That was one I wrote with my friend Maddie Diaz and Sarah Buxton here in Nashville, like 2 winters ago. So I was like in the thick of divorce proceedings and, just, I don't even know how I was writing at the time because maybe I just out of survival, like not wanting to be alone. I think writes are sometimes just excuses to hang out with your friends. And that song just was not easy to write, obviously, but it was really important. And it ended up, I guess, not being like a centerpiece of the EP, which is now absorbed into the album, but it was one of those songs where I was like, I don't know about releasing this because it's a little bit too hard-hitting, even for me. And I'm not one to shy away from the truth, but I certainly go into everything like, I don't do this out of spite. I don't do this to hurt anyone. I do it to heal myself, like inner child, me now, the whole in between. So I don't know. I just trusted my gut, and my gut was saying this song should hit the air and see how it lands, but like you're getting it out. And so yeah, it's certainly one that is deeply meaningful to me because it is so hard to be the one that walks away from something that was so beautiful and is just going to look different now. But I've had the therapeutic pleasure of performing that live, and it made me realize that I was correct in putting it out there because so many people in the crowds have screamed those lyrics back at me, and it just feels like we're in a group therapy session, and it's the whole point of being like a conduit to some of these emotions that aren't easy to access. Is like, well, I don't have to stifle this. Like I can actually share it and feel a connection with strangers or friends that have reached out hearing that song and felt like, holy shit, she went there.
And also, I'm going to add real quick, your vocals are stunning on that. Like, stunning. Okay, so this is your 4th album. Do you feel like at all that this might have been the album that you always wanted to make? It feels really transformative to me.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, I think it went through so many seasons of like start and stops because I started making it years ago. Like I was working with Jack Antonoff, writing at Electric Lady for weeks on end. And then I'd take a break and start touring. And, it was just a lot of different beginnings. And then, my relationship sort of fell apart and I had to put some of those songs that we had started on the back burner and just like heal and survive that moment in time. And I wasn't worried about making an album. And then when I felt like, okay, I'm ready to get back in this creative mode and I had so much to say. So there are several like musical things happening and different timelines going on. I mean, it's all like in the same head of mine, but I think that's why when you hear this record, Jack Antonoff, Greg Kurstin, Evan Blair, John Ryan, I mean, it is a lot of people that I've like worked with previously or like met in this new space emotionally, and I love that it's all represented. I think like I just followed the music, and that's what I've always done. But now it's like, it is several producers, but the through line, also Naomi McPherson from Muna did Push Me Over, Cry in the Car. It was just like a lot of different muscles of mine being worked and used for the first time. And so yeah, it is definitely an album that I think like the me that moved here 12 years ago would be just in disbelief that I had the gall to make this.
It's phenomenal. What do you want someone to take away when they're listening to Dreamsicle? What is the message you want them to take away from the album?
I mean, so many things. There's a lot of like themes happening, but I guess the resounding theme is like, you don't have to be stuck where you are, whether that's in a job or a relationship. You know, you have the strength to transform. You don't have to just be this thing forever. And it's, you know, it's hard to pull the plug on things that you hold dear and love but don't fit you anymore. It's really hard to be uncomfortable. But I think that's the takeaway. I mean, when I made it, was, holy shit, I can't believe I did all of this and I'm still here. Like, I'll never, I mean, it's all relative. I'll never compare my life to anyone else's, like, strife. But I can sit here, like, very plainly and say that, like, I've been through a lot, and we all have, but I certainly feel like I am strong, and I have always been strong, but I don't know how sometimes I made it through all of that and still wanted to make music about it. So whether you're a creative or not, in the musical way, or whatever it is you do and love, maybe you're just a music lover, but I hope that you take away that, like, you don't have to be pigeonholed in anything. And, like, you know, I'm gonna be a different person probably in 6 months from now. So I just write around it. And it's nice to kind of, like, go back and listen to these songs and be like, damn, I am really glad that I'm not in that headspace anymore, and, like, still live to tell the tale about it and want to perform it and not feel, like, traumatized reaccessing those emotions.
So what would determine success for you with this album?
I mean, success for me is always being able to travel further than I did on the last tour. So, yeah, I think just music being more widely received. I think, obviously, like, I'm so loyal to my fans and my fan base, especially the ones that have been there from, like, my church or even before my church. Like, I feel like I owe them a lot because they've seen me through a lot of shit. But I always just want to explore more. And for me, it's like, I've had to reset a lot of expectations on myself in the way that I tour, because after COVID and, you know, kind of switching gears in the genre space too, I was like, I am gonna have to start looking at this almost as if starting over. And, like, I don't personally want to keep moving up for moving up's sake and, like, going into arenas. I was like, I did one on the Humble Quest tour. I did Bridgestone, and it was so fun, really beautiful. But I was like, I've opened for people in them, but I was like, I think I'm doing a lot of changes musically, internally, and I kind of miss this, like, grit of, like, a club or a theater and, like, doing that again. So I think just, like, rebuilding in this new sound and space is really important for me. But yeah, I think success would just be, like, loving this still at the end. And I do. I love touring. I love performing. I love the ins and outs and the detail. But yeah, I just want to see the world, and my music's been the vehicle. So I never really forget that. And, like, yes, I love being able to make a living off of it. That's really lucky. And I work hard, but I think, yeah, I want to be able to tour the world and travel and bring my son and, like, have my music be the vehicle to do so. And I feel like with every single album I've put out, I've been able to explore more of the planet, which is fun.
So you will be touring with this album?
I mean, yeah.
I'm speaking it into existence. I wasn't asking. I'm speaking it into existence.
Yeah, we'll manifest the tour.
All right, I want to switch gears with your creative brain a little bit, because you've also been nominated for a Golden Globe and a Critics' Choice Award. Talk about that. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that was so wild. Like, and it all sort of just wrapped up. So I'm still in this space of, like, what happened? Like, I cannot believe that was me, you know, watching the Golden Globes since I was a kid, and the carpet, and then being on it, nominated, and just, I don't know, like, being a part of the music for a film like Wild Robot. That was really out of my comfort zone in terms of, this is not my story that I typically write for. It's someone else's, but I'm going to have to go through the lens of empathy to be able to write for this animated character's journey. But it was actually easier than I thought because it was all about like motherhood and letting go of control and letting someone be themselves and just guiding them, being like, the lighthouse. So, no, I mean, I always believed in the project, but until it was in theaters, because, it takes years to animate a film. So when I signed on, we had like 2-dimensional scratchy sketches to go off of and write a whole like song to, and orchestra was on it. And, but no, it was so fun. And like, I think the best part of all of it was, having never had a song in a movie before, writing for this film, and then also like my son watching it last year next to me, kind of being the inspiration for the song. I mean, it was so emotional. I was like bawling the entire time. And the fact that he loves the film is like such a sigh of relief because kids are very honest with what they like and don't like. But no, that was like the biggest gift because like if I had a kid or not, I love children's movies and I love children's books so much. Like I still listen to the Lion King soundtrack and weep to Han's score. Like it's just so deeply entrenched in like my love of music and what makes me emotional. It doesn't have to have words to make me feel something. And I think that's so brilliant about like those classic children's films. So to be a part of one that is so already beloved, and like we got to go to the Globes and like the Critics' Choice Awards, and then the film was nominated for the Oscars. Like, I mean, it was just, I don't even know if I can do it again because it went so well the first time.
Well, I hope you do.
I will.
So children's books, talking about children, you're getting ready to release your second children's book, Beatrix Butterfly Wings It For Once, with Karina Argo. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a mouthful.
Why did you want to do it again?
Well, I think like Karina and I have been best friends for over a decade. She's the godmother to my son. She used to be an English teacher. We've just been so immersed in each other's lives personally. And now she's, on the road with me, and we've written the first book, Addie Ant Goes on an Adventure. I think when we were talking about the characters, because she loves gardening, and my son loves her garden, we always wanted it to be a series. So having grown up loving like Beatrix Potter characters and just being able to reread all of these stories to my son since he's been born, I've just like always loved children's books, but falling back in love with the ones that maybe you haven't read since you were a kid, like Corduroy. I had forgotten how much I loved Corduroy and how instantly it comes back to you when you read that first page. I was like, yeah, let's keep going. And the first book was a New York Times bestseller, and we knew that like Beatrix Butterfly would be this like amazing rock star character for book 2. And I mean, our illustrator Kellyanne Dalton, she's like, I mean, that's most of the magic of a children's book is the artwork, so, and the illustrations. So I feel like with this one we got to just be even more free and silly because it was like there's a jazz club scene at the very end of the book and everything's like garden puns. So we were like, what are our jazz artists that play at this jazz club in this garden bed? And so it was like Dilly Holiday and Portobello Fitzgerald. And
I
so
love that.
we have a whole list of names we didn't use, but yeah, it's just like such a sweet book about not having to, well, again, I feel like this is a theme today, but just like not having to be in control, not having to abide by the list or the expectations, and just going with the flow and like taking that pressure off yourself and just getting to one thing on your list is fine. So you're still a person at the end of the day, or a bug. But yeah, I'm so excited. It comes out next week.
So kind of a follow-up to that, which you've kind of answered a little bit, but why children's books? I mean, you're very creative, but you could be doing anything right now. What is it about children's books?
Well, I don't think I've lived enough life to have like, an autobiography or biography. So
I would read it if you wrote it. I'm just saying I would read it.
Maybe like I've done 2 chapters of one. I don't know. Children's books to me feel like such a pure space of imagination and creativity and nostalgia, of course. But like I think I'd always wanted to do either a children's book or a children's album, and then the dovetail of being able to write a children's book and then be a part of like a children's movie like The Wild Robot at the same time, same year. I was just like, this is so fun because no one experiences things like a child. And having one of my own who's now 5, I was like, I feel like I get inspired all the time by him to just see things from his perspective. Or when you like watch a movie with someone that hasn't seen it yet but you can't wait for their reactions. That's how every day is with a child. And it just, I don't know, it makes me feel more creative when I have multiple creative things going on. Like writing the children's book makes me more excited to go write songs because I'm diversifying like my brain now. But yeah, I think I just say yes more often too to creative projects because I'm like, let's do it all.
I love that. So 4th album, music in a movie, children's books. If somebody's looking to you and saying, how do I do that? What would you tell the younger you?
I mean, I don't know. I always think about like, or not really, I don't think about younger me a lot, but I was like, I think I'm too preoccupied with this version, but because she's a lot. But I think there's just no way I would have fathomed having the ability to do all these things and simultaneously. And I have tons of help, but I think, yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I think I know also when to push back and like claim my space and say it's too much for right now. I need like some decompression days or whatever. Like I'm okay asking for that now, which before I think I just had to say yes to everything out of like obligation or not wanting an opportunity to pass me by or like go to the next artist. And so you feel like hungry hippo where you're like, I have to like collect everything or else I'm ungrateful. Now it's like I'm a little bit more chilled out. So when I do say yes to multiple things, it's out of genuine love and excitement to do so. And I think that only comes from like age. Like I think just being able to like delegate more your own thoughts even. So that's probably like the only new thing about being in your 30s is like not really caring as much about others' like view of you and just focusing more on like what makes you happy and how to like manifest those things and make them happen in real ways and like lean on friends and not have to do everything yourself and feel that pressure to do so.
30s are fabulous. Okay, last question. What's next for you? Album's out.
Yeah.
Tour, we manifested it already.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
I mean, every day is like a new adventure. I think this year has already been nuts with like the Golden Globe stuff at the beginning of the year. Just like starting to really pick up like travel and I've been sitting on this album for like 7 months. So it does feel a little unreal to have it be in people's hands in just a few weeks and them start to collect their favorite songs and like tell me what's what. It helps me kind of gather intel and the tour, like a set list. But I don't know. I would love to like maybe act, maybe like write for another film or like musical would be insane. I think like just all the childhood dreams that I've had, I think the more I like become vulnerable and like honest with myself and the world, the more opportunities fall into my lap. Like I'll receive an email about something that just seemed unbelievable a year ago, and now it's like I think this is just out of having the stones to say yes more and not feel scared or like self-conscious. So I mean, I'm kind of game for anything.
Well,
yeah.
Whatever you do, I have no doubt you'll be fabulous at it.
Thanks.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you. That was